De La Rosa. Number 2, si Bam Aquino. Okay. So, makita natin yung pag-search na ni Kiko Pangilinan and Bam Aquino. Bigla na lamang silang sumupot and they got very high polls after the elections. Pag tinignan mo naman yung resulta ng other candidates like Tito Soto, King Maxton, hindi mo masasabi sila talaga yung kandidato ng administrasyon because they are a man of their own. Mananalo yung dalawa na yan kasi sa dami ng mga sumusuporta sa kanilang big political parties and political groups. For example, Tito Soto, for that matter, alam naman natin ang performance ni Tito Sen. At saka alam natin siya yung, I think he is the chairman of NPC, Nationalist People's Coalition, or president siya ng NPC. The same breath kay Senator Ping Lacson, talagang mayroon silang sariling pwersa. But, kung titignan mo ngayon, yung nangyari, zero yung administration sa senatorial election. Dahil ang partido nila is Partido Federal ng Pilipinas. Sino mga kandidato dyan? Manny Pacquiao, Tolentino, Benhar Abalos, lahat talo. Walang lusot sa PFP. Ang laki pa rin nilang ginastos. Magkano ba yung budget na naipalathala for the party? Yung kanilang sa 10 billion? Wow! 10 billion more than the number of amount na allowed ng COMELEC under the law. Kung totoo yun, that is supposed to be the party fund or the allianza fund na 10 billion. Yung mga personal pang pera ng mga ito. Lumusot si Erwin Tulfo. But Erwin Tulfo, in-adapt na lang yung resident, ginawang lakas CMD yan. Di naman original na lakas yan si Erwin. In-adapt siya kasi meron siyang malakas na grupo, yung CIS, etc., yung kanilang social media platform ng magkakapatid. No? So, they cannot claim itong administrasyon na meron silang nanalong talagang totoo sila doon. Kaya talo yung kanilang tatlong kandidato sa PFP. No? Pero, makikita natin yung resulta ng election. This is going to have a mirror of what's gonna transpire in 2028. Ang klaro dito, malakas ang endorsement power ng mga Duterte. Kita natin sa outcome dyan sa Overseas Filipino Workers, kita natin sa outcome sa Visayas and Mindanao, dahil dyan sa endorsement power ni PRRD at ni DP Sara. So, sino mga possible frontrunner in 2028? Well, kung hindi nila makonvince si DP Sara, she will be the frontrunner in 2028. Dito sa other Duterte candidates, andyan sigurado na yan. Presidential na rin si Bongo because he was re-elected. Imagine, 2022, di ba, flinote namin yung pangalan niyang PDP laban candidate siya. Pero this time around, he is able to prove his worth when re-elected siya and being the top notcher with more than 27 million. Huwag niyo kalimutan si Robin Padilla pa. Nag-number 1 din yan noong 2022 election, though he is running for Senator in 2020. So, pag tinignan natin yung mass-based support ng mga kandidato na potential candidate in 2020, nasa panig yan ng PDP laban Duterte Group. No? Duterte Group. So, itong resurgence ng grupo ng sinabi natin Dilawan o Pinklawan, titignan natin kung ano ang magiging kahihinatnan nito. Will they become close ally of the outgoing administration? Sabihin na natin po, papaalis na itong administrasyon na ito. Pero very clearly, itong outgoing administration na ito, I don't think any one of them has a probable presidential teamwork in 2028. Yun ang nakikita ko dito na situation. Maybe another dark horse will come out in the open pero hindi manggagaling sa administration ticket. I don't think from the CMD, I don't think from Partido Federal, I don't think from even NPC. Maybe NPC will not even want to be, identified with the outgoing administration comes 2028. Tingnan natin si Yorme, kung ano magiging plano ni Yorme. Because Yorme also won overwhelmingly in the city of Manila. Hindi pa pwede si Vico Soto. hindi pa siya hinog dahil 35 years old pa lang siya. So, hindi pa siya qualified by age in 2028. So, ito yung mga dinar. So, nakikita namin ngayon, ang malakas dyan, wow, tingnan natin. Si Erwin Tulfo, o London number 4 ba si Erwin Tulfo? O kaya si Rafi Tulfo, no? Yung dalawang Tulfo brothers, but Rafi Tulfo is running for election in 2028. So, yun ang nakikita ko. But right now, the front runner is overwhelmingly Bibi Sara.
Okay, Atty., this is a personal question. You see Amy Marcos, she made it, no? Amy Marcos. Ano sabihin mo?
Well, si Manang Amy made because she is an Ilocana, like me, binutuan siya ng mga Ilocano. At malaking yung naging tulong ng endorsement ni Bibi Sara sa kanya at ni Senator-elect Pabilipica. So, without the Bibi Sara endorsement, baka lahat ng mga supporters, die-hard Duterte supporters, ay talagang hindi siya binoto. Pero nagkaroon siguro ng somehow softening of the position of some die-hard Duterte supporters. Kaya pag titingnan ko sa Mindanao, yun, Duterte plus Camille Villar and Amy Marcos ang lumakas.
Okay, so you said that in 2025 election, Duterte won. The Duterte group won.
Definitely. Here. Klaro yun. Sa outcome ng elections. Tatlo sa aming senatorial candidates ang nanalo and doon sa top 24, halos na doon kami lahat.
Okay, another question, Atty. What will happen to the President Duterte?
Ayun.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking that, Rod. Kasi we are now more energized to ask for Tatay Digong to be brought home. Bring him home, Tatay Digong. So we are now going to organize more rallies, more meetings here in the Philippines and abroad. In fact, I am leaving for Japan, I'm leaving for Singapore, I might even go to the Netherlands in the next weeks to come to rally our overseas Filipino workers. Magpasalamat sa kanila, but at the same time, maintain the strong clamor na kailangan mapauwi si Tatay Digong. Hopefully, makauwi siya before June 30 so that he can take his oath as the new mayor-elect of Davao City. So, we're just hoping na magkaroon ng breakthrough yung legal situation. Yung mga lawyers naman nila magagaling. So, sana na magkaroon na ng decision ng ICC. We are happy that the lead prosecutor, Mr. Tan, recused himself after he was implicated for a very anomalous case. No? At ewan ko kung sino nilalagay nilang prosecutor. But alam naman natin na talagang ito ay walang jurisdiction yung ICC. So it's just a matter of time, Rod. So, but we are now going to have a more active campaign for bring Tatay Digong home here in the Philippines.
Okay, Atty., as a lawyer, what is your message to Roque, to Secretary Roque?
I think Harry Roque is a very brilliant lawyer. He knows what defense he is going to take. Kita ko naman, nagkaroon na ng resolution ng Department of Justice about his case. I don't know if Harry is going to file a motion for reconsideration in order that whatever decision of the DOJ, which would most likely deny his MR, then he can go up to the higher court pursuant to the rule on exhaustion of administrative remedies. Kasi kung hindi siya mag-MR, it would be premature for him to go up to the Court of Appeals to question the resolution of the Department of Justice. That's one option that he can. Hindi na kasi pwede ngayon yung dati under the old rules na motion for determination of probable cause. Dati meron yan. Pero wala na yan under the new rules of court na hindi ka na pwede mag-file ng motion before the same court na nag-issue ng warrant of arrest. So I think Harry Roque would be filing a motion for reconsideration, then mag-file siya ng petition before the Court of Appeals all the way up to the Supreme Court. So wala pang final naman yung resolution na yan. So meanwhile, Harry Roque I think will enjoy his stay in Europe and will continue as what I've been watching in his vlog, yung kanyang ginagawa. I wish you well. Sana may malampasan ni Harry Roque ito. Kasi sa tingin mo naman talaga, wala naman siyang active participation doon sa sinajudge nilang human trafficking ba? Sabi ko, bakit nag-recruit pa si Harry Roque ng mga POGO workers kung yun ang binibenta sa kanya? Was he involved in that? Perhaps he may have, mistakenly associated himself with some POGO operators na nakasabay niyang kumain o biberenta ng kanyang ta. But for him to be implicated as one of the mastermind of committing these human trafficking accusations, hindi naman siguro gagawin ni Harry Roque yun. So that would be the legal remedy of Harry Roque.
Okay, listen, at 11:38, I would like to close the forum as soon as possible. Any questions from the media? Anybody? Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, Wilson.
Kanina sinabi ni Attorney Raul Lambido sa Senator Joseph na nanalo yung opposition. Is this a protest vote? Did you see parang, di ba, a few people sa admin ng nanalo, protest vote pa to sa bad economy or peace and order, ano sa tingin niyo? This election, despite the billion step, hindi nanalo yung maraming candidates.
Ang palagay ko, huwag natin tawagin protest vote. This is a realization vote. Kasi it's not just so much protest. Diba? Protest is been given a bad connotation. No? Na parang, bakit kayo nagpo-protesta? Ano ba ang problema mo? Bakit kayo nagpo-protesta? Parang gano'n. Hindi. I think this is the dawning of that realization. Dawning of that realization, and it's a way by which it's all translated into vote, because that's the only way you can be heard. Paano ka mapapakinggan?
Hindi to protest,
No, it's a realization vote. I wouldn't consider it a protest vote. Parang natauhan ka. Hindi ka nagpo-protesta, natauhan ka kasi ito yung araw-araw mong nadarama. Ito yung araw-araw mong karanasan. At wala kang nararamdaman na may ginagawa para maibsan naman itong nakikita mo na maliwanag. Kasi sa survey nga para aminin mo na ikaw ay mahirap, para aminin mo na wala kang makain, it must be true. You cannot fake it. Sino ba may gusto sabihin na wala akong makain? Hindi mo gagawin yan. Diba? Ngayon, yung sinasabi, despite the expenses that were incurred by candidates, so much money, alam nyo, yung media expense, dyaryo, TV, radyo, billboard, kung ano man, that is very quantifiable. Siguro mabawas ang konti, pero hindi mo naman dinadagdag yan Those are billing statements, those are resibo. Diba? So, yung mga 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion na ginastos sa media, that's the minimum. Paano mo isusulat pagkano binigay mo sa gobernador, sa mayor, sa kagawad, sa barangay captain? Paano mo riresibuhan yun? So, itong media expense, yung advertising expense, yan na yung pinaka-minimum na ginastos. Diba? So I think this has to be also clear in the minds of people.
Magandang clarification, hindi to protest vote. Okay, Attorney Lambido, what do you think?
Well, if you take a closer look of the results of the election per regions, and this scares me. This scares me. I noticed the resurgence of the terrorist group, CPP, NPA, in the air, becoming much stronger here in Luzon. Kaya tignan nyo, yung naging resulta ng halangan. Yung mga candidates that are closely identified with the terrorist group, CPP, NPA, in the air, they made very, very good ratings in Luzon. Kasi, ang dami rin nilang pera dami nilang ginastos no? And they have very good exposure in schools, umikot sila. Sa mga schools dito sa Luzon in particular. They were not able to do that in Visayas, Mindanao because they were neutralized by the Duterte group or the Duterte endorsement. Pero dito sila na-concentrate at nakita mo. No? Grabe yung kanilang pag-aangat sa eleksyon na ito. Hindi yung biro. No? So tama yung sinasabi na talagang merong yan. Nagkaroon na ng sabwatan, nagkaroon na ng alliance, nagkaroon na ng agreement itong CPP and PNDF with the administration. That's why they were able to freely campaign and come up with all this strongly worded campaign against the Dutertes. No? And kaya sila nakakuha ng ganyan karaming boto. So ito ang tignan natin ngayon. Bakit natin pinapagayan? I was happy with this COMELEC in its decision disqualifying a party list that was named as really affiliated with the binanggit terrorist group, CPP, NPN. Kasi hanggang ngayon yung talagang label nila eh. They were called upon by the United States na terrorist organization to. At dito sa Pilipinas, hindi pa rin naaalis hanggang ngayon. But sad to say, very recently, I think about a month ago, no, nagkaroon ng agreement na bigyan ng free conduct pass itong mga terrorist personalities. Tapos sasabihin na naman nila red tagging. Wala na red tagging dito. They are not communists. I don't consider them communists. I consider them terrorists. Magkaiba yung communism sa terrorism. No? Communism is not illegal. It's not illegal. It's legal in America, legal in Europe, legal even here in the Philippines because we have already amended or we have already, declared the anti-subversion law as something that wala na yan eh. Pero terrorism, they have been identified. Yet, the government is watching or tangoing with this group. Ano ito? So yan ang tingnan natin. That, I think, is the biggest security problem that the armed forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police should look into. Hindi yung pro-China. Hindi mangyayari yun. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Nikki, and I agree with her. No? It's not just political ito. Ang ginagamit yung pro-China issue na. This is being used now by those people who would want to do business by buying arms para kumita sila ng malaki na komisyon within a period of 6 years or 3 years of the remainder of their term. Transaction ito eh. Pag bumili ka ng mga armas na gano'n, $350 billion para sa mga eroplano na hindi naman magagamit. Kanino mo gagamitin at gagamitin mo lang yung Chinese scale para magkaroon ng success itong transaction na ito. That's detrimental to the interest of the Filipino people. Let's focus pagdating sa security issue. Itong problema natin sa CPP and PNDF and their influence now in Luzon. Luzon area, napakalakas ang influensya nila. Even in schools, high school and colleges and universities. Hindi lamang po sa mga state colleges and universities. Even in private institutions now, na hindi yan dati napapasukan ng grupong ito. They are now so, active ang presence po nila sa different campuses.
Yeah. Palagay ko, yung mga tinatawag natin terrorist groups, no? I am not familiar or I'm not, don't have that kind of experience as maybe Attorney Rubino had, no? Pero ang tao naghahanap ng makakatulong sa kanila. Remember that? Kaya kung lalago ang parallel government, tawagin na natin silang parallel government kasi baka doon sa lugar nila wala ng gobyerno eh. Hindi natin alam, no? So dahil yung tao magbibigay ng pagkain, tutulong, bakit? Hindi sila makakuha ng katarungan doon sa ating existing justice system. Maaaring hindi sila, no? Maaaring hindi sila makakuha ng kanilang hinahanap, kung trabaho man yan, kung pagkain yan, doon na lang sa mga magsasaka. Para sabihin mo, pagkano lang ang 1 kilong palay? 14, 15, sabihin mo na, 16 pesos, 1 kilong palay. Subukan nyo, kayo kaya, buong araw kayo nandyan sa, nakakula sa araw, at ang kikitain mo, 14 pesos. Diba? Yun lang. Kung ikaw yung magsasaka, hahanap ka ng kakampi. Hahanap ka. Hindi na ito ideology, hindi na ito religion, hindi na kahit ano. Yun na lang sikura ko na kailangan kong punuin. So, hahanap ka. Pagkadating ng panahon na meron kang nakitang kakampi, yung kakampi mo na yon, magiging kakampi mo lang kung meron siyang gagawin na quote-unquote paghihiganti doon sa kahirapan mo, kung paano siya, feeling mo, ito ang mga may kasalanan sa kahirapan ko. So, maghihiganti ako. Hindi ko kaya. Maliit lang akong tao, mangilis na, masasakay, hindi ko kaya. Pero ito, kaya niya. Kakampi ko siya. So, yun nagkakaroon, nagsusnowball yan, lalaki ng lalaki ng lalaki. Kaya sabi ni attorney, nakakatakot. Pero, ang dahilan niyan ay hindi dahil magugulo lang sila. Hindi na dahilan. Ang dahilan nun, sila ay nakakatugon sa pangangailangan ng tao na ang primary pangangailangan, yung kanyang buhay, hindi magkaroon ng katiyakan. Pumunta siya sa ospital, wala, patay. Pumunta siya saan siya pupunta? Diba? Yung kanyang tinatanim, hindi sapat para makain. Bakit? Pag panahon ng ani, murang-murang halaga. Pag tapos na yung ani niya, siya naman ang bibili ng produktong tinanim niya, triple na yung presyo. Kapag ganyan na sitwasyon, hahanap ka ng kakampi. And maybe, ready, willing, and able, merong mga grupo na kumakampi dyan.
Yeah, good point there, Senator. And Attorney Lobino, I agree with you. The internal security is very important. Okay, my last question, okay? Yung mga... Okay, my last question. Maraming survey, di ba, before the election. Pero hindi yata natupad, no? So, what is your position on surveys?
Well, for the first time, nagkamali lahat yung mga survey firms dito sa naging resulta ng election. Well, they can always have the excuse, sabihin nila, anyway, the survey was conducted a month before the election or 2 weeks before the election, and there may have been some major activities undertaken by the different political groups or candidates that may have altered the result of the survey. Sabi nga nila, meron sila margin of error na 2 to 3%. Pero ang laki ng margin of error nila na yan. Very big error talaga. Sobra. So, ito yung, alam mo, ito yung ayaw ko talaga sa survey. Because, disadvantageous yan sa mga neophytes na mga kandidatong katulad ko. No? Kasi nga, sabihin nila, the awareness si Raul Lambino, 1.6%. Totoo naman. Yun daw ang awareness ng mga tao. Kailan na si Raul Lambino ng 1.6%. That was by October, tapos naging 6%, 7% by January. Yung mga kaibigan ko na gusto mong tumulong sa akin, sabihin nila, Raul, magkarat mo ako, 7% ang nakakakilala sa'yo, kakahiya ka. Ganon ang naging outcome niyan. No? Kasi, talagang madi-discourage yung mga supporters mo, even your close friends or even your family members, na sabihin na, sige, makuha, tutulong kami sa'yo. Tapos, pag lumalabas yung mga surveys, every month, nagsasurvey yung mga different firms, hindi lumalabas yung pangalan ni Raul Lambino from 6% naging 15%, 16%, naging 25%. 1 month before the election, 26% na lang. Di yung aking mga kaibigan na gusto pa mag-donate sana ng t-shirts o kaya yung mga tarpaulin, hindi na magbibigay yun. Lalo kaming dihado. Samantalang yung mga ibang kandidato na 100% yung awareness nila, 99% yung awareness nila, tapos yung approval o preference rating nila nasa 40%, 30%. Sila pa rin ang binibigyan ng mga gustong mag-donate ng boto. Iyon ang masakit dito sa mga survey na ito ng eleksyon. It's really mind conditioning, not just the voters, but the supposedly mga gustong tumulong sa kampanya. At yung mga donors, nobody in his right mind to be giving donation of such huge amount doon sa kandidatong alam naman niyang matatalo. Kung magbibigay man lang yan, konti lang ibibigay instead na magbigay ng 1 million yan, bigyan ka lang nila ng pare 10,000, pwede mo pang pamilienta. Ganun yung nangyari dyan.
Pero another thing about surveys, oops.
Yeah.
Another thing about surveys though, alam niyo kung minsan, nasa survey na lugar, hindi nakapunta doon si Raul, kaya 1% siya. Hindi naman pupunta yung nagsa-survey doon sa lugar na nakababad si Raul na araw-araw yung kanyang mga supporters, Duterte or whatever supporters, taga doon. Kaya, pag pinaverage mo yun, di 1% lang si Raul. Pero, di ba? Kasi yung survey na yun, siguro ang dapat natin ako ang tingin ko kasi sa survey, it should be a gauge for the candidate. Alam mo na 1% ka, kailangan mo makita at least 30, 40, 50%. O di suyurin mo lahat ng palengke, suyurin mo lahat ng mga matatao mga lugar, di ba? O kaya, at least initially, meron ka man lang unang pang-salvo mo na makilala ka, di ba? Pero, yung mga nagsasurvey kasi, siguro, ang kanilang paraan, para dun sa mga produkto, produkto na nationwide na matagal nang nakikilala. So, kunyari, kung beer man yan, sardinas man yan, tinapay man yan, pag sinurvey, kasi widespread na yung kayo. Kaya pag kinuha nila yung 1,000, 2,000 na respondents, more or less, it will really reflect the people's sentiment. But in an election, especially for new candidates, as you mentioned, di ba, hindi nila na-survey yung mga lugar kung saan ka nagbabad. So, zero ka doon. But it doesn't mean that you're zero in the whole country.
Yeah. Well, my point, Attorney Sara, there should be a law that will regulate surveys, especially before the election.
I think, I have nothing against having surveys. What I am only against is the publication of the survey to promote a particular candidate. Kasi ano ang nangyayari? I think, okay lang, sige, magpa-survey sila. But that would be for the personal consumption of whoever has commissioned the survey. Huwag na niyang ipapublish na ito yung resulta ng aking kinommission na survey because that's going to create really unnecessary mind conditioning in favor of a particular favored candidate and against those not favored candidates. Kasi hindi naman natin alam kung anong ginamit nilang yung methodology. So, pwede nilang i-manipula yung mga survey na yan na ito ang lalabas sa kanila and then they're going to the research in the social. I think the Comelec should do something about it. It can come up with a law or rules and regulations because under the Constitution and under our election law, they can execute, implement, and come up with whatever rules and regulations to ensure peaceful, orderly, honest elections. So that may be one thing. Okay lang mag-survey, pero no more publication from the very beginning. Pagdating dito sa elections. Dahil hindi naman po kasi produkto na binibenta ito na consumable yung mga politiko. Parang gano'n na lang ang bagsak kasi na itong mga politikong tumatakbo, local man o national o party list. They are just like what? Consumable products na kailangan mong i-promote. Just as like a drug or a chocolate or wine or what. Hindi siguro ganun dapat. We should not treat the candidates as commodities that would be subjected for what? Marketing promotions.
Thank you. On that note, I would like to end the forum. Thank you very much, everybody. And tomorrow, you're invited for another forum. Okay. Picture muna.
Okay.